Senate is voting on a two-year budget and debt ceiling package before the August recess. The measure passed the House last week. And joining me right now is Senate Republican Conference Chairman, Senator John Barrasso. Senator, it's good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Maria.
So can you give us a tone in the Senate to this budget? Of course, you've got congressional leaders and the president announcing the budget deal. However, a lot of debate. It is busting the budget again. It would add $1.7 trillion to the projected debt levels. The budget deal would cost nearly as much as the tax cuts. The Committee for a Responsible Budget is saying Republicans don't do it. What do you say?
Well, I congratulate the president on putting this deal together, which continues to keep our military strong. It continues to protect the full faith and credit of the United States. It keeps the government open. It provides certainty, but absolutely it spends more than any of us would like. But Maria, watch the debate tonight with the Democrats, with the Green New Deal and Medicare for all. That would blow all of this out of proportion. So, we have to deal with the entitlements that we're looking at: Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, the big drivers of expense in this country. But I think the president has done a fine job of putting this together. We have divided government for something that can pass the House and he will sign. I think he's found the right spot here.
So under this deal, discretionary spending rises 21%, Senator, in the president's first term. The budget deal would bring discretionary spending to near record levels. I understand your point on the military spending, but is there not a mid-level that you can reach with your colleagues on the left so that spending does not skyrocket and you can still protect the military?
In divided government, it does seem the Democrats under Nancy Pelosi and this far left wing that wants more and more money spent locally, you have to come up with a balance. But realistically, this, as you call discretionary spending, is such a small part of the budget compared to the mandatory spending. I mean, today, 11,000 Americans will turn 65. They'll be going on Social Security. They'll be going on Medicare. Those are the things that continue to go up because, under this strong, healthy, and growing economy, tax revenue is actually up because we have so many more people working. And even though each is paying lower taxes because of the tax cuts, the total number of workers is bringing in more revenue, and still our spending exceeds it because of the drivers with Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security.
So you're going to vote for this deal then?
I am going to vote, and I congratulate the president. A number of us were with him last week at the White House and appreciated what he's done to make this possible.
Well, you're obviously not going to allow the United States of America to default. I get that. Raising the debt ceiling is critical. A bipartisan group of senators unveiled a plan, though, to authorize $287 billion in federal funds to maintain and repair highways nationwide. Senator, you introduced this bill. Who's going to pay for this?
Well, you're absolutely right. We need safe highways. This is a highway infrastructure bill that the president has paid for. We do have the gasoline tax that is part of that in terms of the Transportation Trust Fund, but that doesn't cover all of it. So this is going to be paid for. The bill markup is today in the committee. We expect a strong bipartisan vote. It deals with safe roads, better permitting so we can do construction faster, better, cheaper, smarter under the one federal decision plan. The payment, I think, is critically important. We need to make sure the users pay for it. And, right now, electric vehicles don't contribute anything to the Highway Trust Fund. But in fact, they put a lot of wear and tear on the roads, and that is going to increase. So that needs to be part of the funding.
So, of course, there's a lot of things to pay for and a lot of priorities for this government. But when do you expect debt to become a priority, Senator? Do you expect that if the president wins re-election, that he is going to start taking a look at the entitlements and trying to rein in spending?
Well, I do. We raised that last week at the White House when a number of us met with the president about the long-term debt. And I'm somebody that I vote every year and introduce the approach to say we ought to have a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. I voted for Rand Paul's balance the budget in 5-year plan. So I want to get to that point. The president is committed to doing it, and certainly that means he needs to get reelected in 2020.
Let me ask you about China. The trade talks picking up today. Of course, we also are waiting on USMCA, effectively on hold until the fall. There are hopes that it will pass before next year. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell joined me earlier this month, and he said that the U.S. should not leave NAFTA if USMCA is not approved. So, Senator, what's your thought on that? Because the last time I spoke with the president said if USMCA does not come to the floor, he's going to go pre-NAFTA.
Well, I would like to get USMCA approved. It sounds like Nancy Pelosi is going to take it up in the House in September. And with regard to China, and you were playing some things earlier that the president had to say, I agree. If it weren't for President Trump, China would never even be at the table. We know that they cheat. We know that they manipulate their currency. We know that they steal intellectual property and trade secrets. That is their business model. If it weren't for the tariffs and President Trump, they wouldn't even be discussing this today. I was in Wyoming this weekend at fairs and rodeos and different events. Trade is important for us in Wyoming. We have products we want to move in terms of our #1 cash crop, which is beef. So we have agriculture products, energy products, Trona. Trade is very important, and I want to get these things done.
So the bottom line, do you think it's going to come to the floor?
I believe it will come to the floor. NAFTA will have to go first. The USMCA will have to go first to the House. After they pass it, the Senate will certainly pass it.
And you are expecting that that it passes USMCA. So you don't think you'll have that dilemma on whether or not to stick with NAFTA or go pre-NAFTA?
Well, I know in Wyoming, talking to the farmers and the ag folks there, that they want to stay with NAFTA. They prefer USMCA. If not, they want to maintain NAFTA.
Senator, let me ask you about the debates tonight. 2020 hopeful
Yes.
Senator Kamala Harris has unveiled her health care plan ahead of the second Democratic debate tonight in Detroit. She's going to be on tomorrow night, obviously, but the plan focuses on Medicare for all, but it is also including private insurers, Senator. Can you do that? Because remember, first she raised her hand and she said, yeah, I am endorsing Medicare for all. Then when she figured out that it actually does away with 180 million people's private insurance, she backtracked and said, well, maybe we can do both. Can you?
Well, you really can't. You know, what she has co-sponsored in the Senate, along with Bernie Sanders and I think all of the, if not most of the Democrats running for president, and 90 or so or 100 members of the House, is this so-called Medicare for all, a one-size-fits-all health care plan. And I will tell all of your viewers, under any of these plans that the Democrats are proposing, you will pay more, you will get less, and you will wait longer for care. And look, the Green New Deal, take away your job. Medicare for all, take away your health insurance if you're one of the 180 million people who get it through work. I mean, that's what the contrast is going to be in the 2020 elections. And I'm a doctor. I know what it's like to take care of patients. I want to make sure people get the care they need from a doctor they choose at lower costs. And certainly, Medicare for all is not the answer.
Yeah, it's interesting that they all are endorsing this, knowing that it does away with private insurance. So you don't think you can do both? That's Kamala's plan. What do you think we'll hear tonight from Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, each trying to one-up each other on some of these socialist policies?
Well, you know, I think we're going to see this mad dash to the left. They're careening over the liberal cliff. The party has taken this liberal left turn, and we've seen it on health care. We've seen it with the Green New Deal. You've seen it on abolishing ICE in terms of our borders, in terms of abolishing the Department of Homeland Security. You've seen it on item after item after item, and it just seems this dramatic move towards socialism is not what I believe that your viewers and my voters in Wyoming are looking for America. They want to have a strong, healthy, growing economy. People at home are delighted. The fact that we have 6 million new jobs since President Trump has been elected. I mean, Bernie says, well, it's just the 1% that have advanced. People all across the country have had new job opportunities. Wages are going up across the board. And that's a result of the policies that we've come up with. The president said he wants to cut 2 regulations for every one new one. It's turned out we have cut 13 regulations for every one new one.
Well, we certainly saw more growth last week when we got the second quarter GDP. Senator, it's good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be right back.